In September, we walked 33 days on the Camino de Santiago.
Mm-hmm. And here's our thoughts about it. It feels already like the Camino was a really long time ago.
It's been like 3 weeks,
Yeah.
and it feels like it's been a year or 2 years.
Part of me even feels like we didn't do it.
We ended it, and I don't know, now life is just happening again.
But even while we were on it, there were so many days that we were like, what did we do last week? Or where were we last week? Or did we even have any hard days last week? Which the answer was always yes.
Yeah, really felt like, oh, what was that place again? When were we there? What day is it even today? Yeah.
And so often we were wrong.
Sometimes I think just the Sunday brought me a bit out because all the grocery stores were closed.
Oh yeah.
So we had to be prepared for that.
But I think maybe what I do miss the most is just that feeling of not knowing but not needing to know, I guess. Because it was just simple. All we had to do was walk.
Yeah, I think that's also what I miss. It's just, oh, I need to get up today, and then I walk, and then I'll sleep somewhere.
Yeah.
And then I'm gonna do the same thing tomorrow again.
When we talked about it before, all we would say to people is, oh, we just want to go for a big walk. And we figured now's a good time.
We walked 2 different routes.
Yeah.
Actually, we started on the Camino del Norte, then switched to the Camino Primitivo.
Which was not a part of the plan.
Nope. We are not big planners, but our plan was to only do the Camino del Norte. But yeah, plans change.
Pretty easily.
All the time.
Yeah, lots of asphalt today.
Yeah, that's why I was sort of hesitant about saying,
Yes,
great day. 'cause
us
it was
too.
just-
Why'd we switch? Someone told us one day, oh, are you guys going to do the Primitivo? Apparently it's less asphalt. And we thought, oh, that sounds nice. And I think the next day we were like, yeah, we're going to do the Camino Primitivo.
Are you also gonna do the Camino Primitivo? It's way less asphalt.
Yeah, then we got other people hooked on it.
We didn't even know anything about it.
But I don't have any regrets. As much as I live a sporadic life, I do maybe have a bit harder of a time with last minute switches than you do. But I'm so glad that we did it.
We were at a point, I think, where it was like, okay, we gotta decide by tomorrow what we wanna do.
Even on the day, we were like, you told me, oh yeah, so we do have to decide today because the routes go opposite directions. And I was like, oh really? But spew the facts.
Spew the facts. Our Compostela says we walked 828 kilometers.
Well, Noah says
Mine
828.
says that. Bethany walked less than me.
I walked 810, apparently.
I just walked in a circle a few times.
We're going with the bigger number, which is 828 kilometers of walking in 33 days. We took 2 rest days.
We started in Irun, and
Well, technically we started in
Hyundai.
in Honda. We started there and then we walked to our first albergue.
Yeah.
In Irun.
You couldn't book anything. We were just like, okay, hopefully we get a bed. Went there, got the 2 last beds.
And they said that that was a sign of good luck for our Camino. Which, really? We had no problems. Okay, we had some problems.
We had some problems, but also not big. We
The
didn't.
blister on my pinky
blister,
toe was
yeah.
massive.
Yeah.
That was a big problem.
Yeah. Actually true.
Oh, I thought at this point in the video we could show, maybe you could do this, we could show a little map of our route, like...
Yeah, I thought so too. So we started in your own walk to Bilbao. Then from Bilbao, what was kind of our next? Santander? Walk like Santander, then, I don't know, over there somewhere, and then down to Oviedo.
Which is when we switched routes,
Yep.
which was about 2.5 weeks in,
Yeah.
3 weeks in, something like that.
Something like that, yeah. And from Oviedo, we went the Primitivo through the mountains in Spain that are there in Asturias. Yeah, and then, what was it called? Where we met the French way?
I don't remember. I don't remember much because Noah's the travel guide. Danke.
Peter. You made the initial planning.
Which people don't use ChatGPT to plan your Camino route. It's
Nope.
wrong.
Bad idea.
Why did we walk the Camino de Santiago?
Because we wanted to go for a big long walk. And because it was just a dream of yours for a long time.
Yeah, and Noah hopped onto my dream and said, let's do it. Which
Yeah.
I love you for.
Love you too.
I think I was 16, maybe, when I first saw someone do it. The idea of going to Spain, for me, growing up, wasn't really realistic. I think it felt like a really big dream. I think for a long time wasn't even sure if I would accomplish that in my life. I just started to want to cry there for a minute.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know why. I'm ovulating.
So I think that's how we even started talking about it. At first I asked, the Camino, what is that? Till I realized that it's just called different in German.
And then he also realized that that's the same route that goes basically in his backyard from his home. Yeah, so it kind of went from there, and then since we started dating, it was kind of like, when are we going to be able to do that? And
Yeah, and I think you said that, I really want to do this next year. Because I also want to walk the PCT.
That's the next dream.
So we gotta do the Camino before that.
To see if I even like walking. Because I
Yeah.
had some pretty big dreams for walking without having really walked that far before. Maybe that's just to say you don't have to be prepared.
No, you don't have to. You don't have to be some great big hiker, but you can also walk less than we did. Yeah, I think that's another point of the Camino that we realized. It's just how differently people do it.
And that there's no right way.
Coming into it, and we really thought, taking a bus.
That's cheating.
Cheating.
Yeah, we were quite, finish focused. Get to the end as quickly, as efficiently, and as soon as possible. It's interesting to me that we were like that, because we're not really like that.
I think a part of it was also because we had a bit of a deadline.
And I think part of it was that's a lot of the mindset on the Camino was, how many kilometers have you done today? How many are you doing tomorrow? Yeah, I think maybe it became quite quickly a comparison thing, wanting to keep up, which we both very quickly
Big yawn.
We both very quickly felt resistance to. And I think in the first week we said, no, we gotta slow down.
Other people that we met also were they did it for 2 weeks,
Yeah.
And then left and then came back the next day and did it for 2 weeks again.
And I didn't realize that was a thing, but I really loved it because actually so many people who are local to Spain also walk the Camino. It's not just some big tourist attraction. Maybe another takeaway is that you don't have to have a reason for doing something
What did you want to do?
or a dream that you have doesn't have to be motivated by a reason. That's grand. Like, so much of what we do is motivated by just, that feels right, let's do that.
Yeah, I think that's also how we chose the Camino del Norte. I think you came one day and said, oh, I found this one route. We walk along the ocean. It's apparently one of the prettiest. I was like, oh, okay, that sounds nice.
Yeah. I think people say it is the most challenging route.
And I think that it's not as busy.
And all those things were true. We loved the Norte. Honestly, the ocean views, especially there were some mornings that we had. I think those moments will really stick in my mind.
Yeah, I think I really liked the Norte. I don't know, I don't want to be negative about it.
You can not like things.
But I think I would have expected there to be more ocean views more often. Because I think sometimes you'd walk quite inland or 100 meters away from the ocean view. Where later on I learned that there were other options that we could have taken. Like, then it's not the official Camino, but some other thing we could have taken to walk along the ocean more. But all that aside, I still think it was really nice, and I still really liked it too.
Yeah, and we were hesitant to go off trail too much and add more time to our trip because we were on a timeline where we needed to finish the Camino by October 13th.
Yeah, I think with the time thing, because we also just didn't know how long something would take us.
Maybe my one regret is that we didn't run into the ocean more. But we did have one day that was perfect. Maybe we didn't do it on the best beach because then we saw that everyone that we had stayed in the Albergue with the night prior was about half an hour behind us.
Getting a bit tired. Thinking I want to get maybe a coffee.
I would have a coffee.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's get a coffee.
Okay.
Prost.
Prost.
Always look in the eyes.
Always look in the eyes. Did you have any expectations when we began our walk?
Yeah, I think I had that expectation that I will have so much time to think about. I'm just gonna walk the whole day. I'm gonna, I don't know, figure things out. Think about this, and then I can think about this. And then also have some time to think about that. Think a bit like existential
Yes, that's what I was going to
questions
say.
where I was like, oh, I'm gonna solve all of them.
Which is so funny because when we talk realistically about those questions, we know that those are lifetime questions. What am I going to do with my life? You're not going to know that until you're dead. You know? Yes, have dreams, and that's what we're doing. But we both had that expectation, and I think we quickly realized that the day can go by and you really don't think about much.
To accept that took us a while. I think at the beginning it's like, oh yeah, I can think about that later. And then later was like, well, I should really think about that now. And then until you realize like, oh no, you don't have to. It's nice to not have anything to think about.
And then we kind of came to this place that it's like walking the Camino doesn't have to solve anything for us.
Yeah.
For me, but I'd also say for us, The biggest challenge was just getting my body into a rhythmic place of being able to walk every day. I'd say like the first week we struggled quite a bit. And then I remember on my rest day after Bilbao, we were walking past these old abandoned buildings, and then we went over this cool little bridge ferry thing. And I remember thinking that maybe I can do it. In that first week, it was just as much a physical challenge as it was a mental challenge of wondering if I was actually even capable of walking all the way to Santiago. But I will say as well that my biggest challenge turned out to be the thing that I was most proud of, is how much my body is capable of recovery in such a short time frame to allow me to continue to do the same thing every day. There were so many days where I would go to bed so sore, my feet were so sore, and there were many nights I went to bed thinking, oh, I can't do the same thing tomorrow. I have to have a shorter day, or we need to have a rest day. And then I'd wake up and my legs wouldn't hurt, my feet felt fine. I was just hungry and ready for a coffee and then happy to go and walk again.
Our daily routine started usually around 6:30, and getting all of our stuff together, packing our bags again, brushing our teeth, having maybe a little breakfast. And then we would leave the Albergue usually. Oh no, we left at 6:30, eh?
I'm usually up around 5:36 and then we left at 6:30.
Yeah.
I loved our mornings.
Yeah, me too.
They were super cozy.
Yeah, when we managed to leave at 6:30 from the Albergue, then it was still dark outside, and for like the first half an hour, later on a bit longer, it was just so cozy and nice.
Yeah, we were usually a little bit cold in the morning, so we would walk faster and then we would cover more distance in a shorter time.
Yeah, and I think it was just nice hearing everything wake up.
Especially when we were on the coast.
Yeah, those were so pretty. But then from like 6:30 we walked, and then usually by noon we had done like 15 to 20 kilometers.
But also, I remember one day we had done like 20 kilometers by 11.
Yeah.
Don't know how. We were just cruising. So then we would usually stop at noon and have some lunch. Some days we did not stop. Those were really hard days. So stop for lunch.
Yeah.
That's my reminder to myself if I ever do this again.
Yeah. And also one thing that we did before that, usually we left Albergue, and the first cafe that we passed, we would go in there, get a coffee.
And poop.
One coffee and one poop.
Can confirm that walking that much every day will speed up your metabolism to speeds that you may not be familiar with.
So then at 12 we had our lunch break.
I would always be really tired after lunch, and some days I would even fall asleep on Noah.
Yeah, I usually got really tired while walking and just lost all my motivation because I got hungry. And then after the food I usually had quite a bit of energy and felt like, oh yeah, I could walk another 20 kilometers now.
And I was like, how much is left? I can't do it, Noah, I can't.
I think in the morning I would be walking a little bit slower.
And I loved the morning. I was like,
come on, let's
These
get a
are
good
my
pace
pulls.
going.
that was my famous line. And then me after lunch, I gotta go slow.
I can't go this fast.
Typically, somewhere between 2 and I'd say 5 p.m. we would end up at an albergue. Did we book ahead?
Kind of.
Kind of. Yeah, the reviews really made a difference, especially because we didn't run into any problems, but bed bugs can be a problem on the Camino, and we heard quite a few stories from other people and online. That was a bit of a worry for us because we were planning on staying in a lot of the cheaper places. There was one time that we booked an albergue in advance without looking at the reviews, and then we looked at the reviews not long after and saw that there was a ton of reports of people getting bed bugs there. Yeah. Other than that, sometimes I kind of liked it when we didn't book ahead. Sometimes it was just kind of fun to rock up and ask for 2 beds and see who else was there. But other times we knew that we were going to have a long day, and the security of booking beds in advance was really nice, because sometimes the albergue would open at 1, but you weren't going to get there until 4, and an entire albergue can fill up in those 3 hours. So being able to book in advance was nice for us.
And I think sometimes booking advance kind of pushed us a little bit more, because in the morning we would be like, oh yeah, we can go that far. Then in the afternoon it's like a bit like, oh, still 8 kilometers. I don't really want to do that, but we booked there, so we gotta get there. But I will say, a lot of the times we're kind of one of the first ones
there, and I liked that routine. Other people we met and would stay at the albergues with quite frequently were the last ones to leave, and they were the last ones to get a bed.
There was one albergue that I really liked. Now I just need to know the name. But that was a really nice, cozy albergue where you walk in and you just feel so welcome and comfortable.
One thing that we really struggled with on the Camino was finding good, nourishing vegetarian food. And that day that Noah's talking about, I said to you, I'm really just craving a homemade meal. Remember when we arrived there and the first thing he said was, take off your bags, you're at home now. That meant a lot.
Yeah, and I think then when he brought out the soup, it was just so good.
Mm-hmm. And that was super nice at that place, because he, after dinner, invited us all to go on a 15-minute digestion walk up to the cliffs to look over the ocean. And he hosts with his partner so many people on the Camino. And we left feeling like we had just been welcomed into some type of community, or like just a really warm space. And
one more thing about the food there. In the morning they had a homemade lemon jam. First time I ate that, and it was so good.
True.
So fresh and...
Yeah. And they had peanut butter. And he did our laundry.
He just waited for everyone to get there, and then everyone can put his laundry there. And then just doing laundry for everyone. It's just so nice.
Okay, I will say my other favorite albergue was with Sylvia. She was wonderful.
Yeah.
Really, she's this Italian woman, 60 now, I think, and her dream always was to have an albergue. And she wasn't sure which route she wanted to have it on, and she kind of tested and would walk each route, and then once she walked the Camino Primitivo, she decided that's it. And she said that she saw the place which she owns now, it's a beautiful home, saw it, and within like 5 minutes was like, yep, this is it. And it's beautiful. She was creating such a wonderful space. Oh, and we had such a cozy sleep too.
Yeah, we had a double bed there, which was really nice.
Yeah, something sad on the Camino was that we were often sleeping in single beds, and I missed cuddles so much.
I'm not sure if something has changed for me personally. Sometimes I feel like nothing has changed. Sometimes I feel like something has changed, but I'm not quite sure what. Sometimes I think maybe I'll be able to see it in a couple of years, what it changed.
Yeah, maybe it's changed some sort of trajectory. Do you know that word?
No. I was like, oh no, those are big words you're using there.
I think so much of the time on the Camino that I remember is just days where we were just laughing and talking and dreaming, or...
I think also just like not talking. That's a bad thing, but just I think...
I loved when we talked, you. Just, also not talking.
Just when we just kind of like quietly enjoyed each other's company.
Yes, I really enjoyed that too.
Also, one of my favorite things on there was sometimes when it was raining.
That's true.
It was just so cozy.
And we were wearing these bright green matching ponchos. And they worked really well, I think.
Yeah.
And it was so nice because we would put them on our head and cinch them up under our chin. And then we'd just be walking in the rain, and it was kind of like rain on a tin roof, where you would just hear the raindrops on your head.
And I think then often in the rain we walked with those patches with a lot of trees, and then you could just hear the rain on the trees and on the leaves. Yeah, and I think it just made us like, oh, just so cozy. Yeah, definitely some of my favorite days. It wasn't that nice when your feet get wet and then you get blisters from it, but...
Details. Da, 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 da.
Da, 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 da.
Would you do the Camino again?
Would I do the Camino again? I don't think we're playing that far ahead.
We'll do something else first.
Yeah. Over and out.
So, love you and bye.
Goodbye.